Sir, welcome, sir. Avdesh, sir. Welcome, sir. Avdesh, sir. Sir, your mic is mute, sir.
Okay.
Shall I start, sir?
Yes. Good afternoon, Chiranjeevi, Dr. Chiranjeevi.
Good afternoon, sir. So now this session is chaired by Dr. Avdesh Kumar, sir, Assistant Professor, Madan Mohan Malaviya, University of Technology, Gorakhpur. Now I'm going to give a brief biography regarding Avdesh, sir. So Dr. Avdesh Kumar is currently working as an Assistant Professor in the Department of Electrical Engineering, Madan Mohan Malaviya, University of Technology, Gorakhpur. He received his bachelor's degree in Electrical and Electronics Engineering from Birla Institute of Technology, Meshra, Ranchi, master's degree in Instrumentation and Control from National Institute of Technology, Teachers Training and Research, Chandigarh, Punjab, and PhD degree from Motilal Nehru Institute of Technology, Allahabad, in Electrical Engineering. Dr. Kumar is currently the Executive and Professional Member of Automatic Control and Dynamic Optimization Society, ACDOS India, International Federation of Automatic Control Affiliate, Professional Member of IEEE and Institute of Engineers India, and Professional Member of International Association of Engineers IING. Dr. Kumar was the topper of the district Gorakhpur in high school and stood second among all the MTech students in his batch at NITTR Chandigarh. During his PhD, he secured 10 out of 10 CPI in MNNIT Allahabad. Earlier, Dr. Kumar has served in United College of Engineering and Research, Allahabad, in the capacity of lecturer and senior lecturer. He had also served as head of the department Electrical Engineering in LDC Institute of Technical Studies, Allahabad, Uttar Pradesh. His teaching interest during past 16 years mainly include signal and system analysis, network analysis and synthesis, control systems, digital control, digital signal processing, neural networks and fuzzy systems, and optimization techniques. His research interests mainly include control systems, model order reduction, controller design, modeling and simulation through MATLAB, applications of artificial intelligence and optimization techniques to control applications to energy systems. Dr. Kumar has guided 25 MTech theses and presently 9 PhD scholars are working under him. He has guided more than 30 BTech projects also. Dr. Kumar is a regular reviewer of the many international and national journals. He has published 60 research papers in reputed journals and conferences, including 10 SCI papers. He has delivered 15 expert lectures, organized 11 short-term training or FDP, and attended approximately 50 professional training workshops. So, welcome, sir. Please share your PPT, sir. Avdesh, sir.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Chiranjeevi, for your nice introduction. So, meanwhile, I'll share my PPT. Yes. I hope my PPT is visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
And please also confirm my voice level and everything is okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Audible, sir. It is clearly audible.
Okay. So, very good afternoon to all of you connected online. And first of all, I would like to congratulate the whole organizing team at Rajki Engineering College, Sonbhadra, for organizing such a wonderful faculty development program on the control. Right. So it is always a matter of happiness when there is a some FDP and control is there, because in this region we often see very less number of FDPs out of the total FDPs organized on this control. So my congratulations to the team again, and I would like to extend my thanks to Dr. Tirumala Sethi Chiranjeevi sir again for inviting me to share my views on some topic of the control. So, okay, thank you all. So let me begin with my presentation today. So my topic is the concepts, approaches, and key challenges in approximation. So there is an area called model order reduction or approximation. So, and this area is constantly, many of the researchers across the globe are working on this area, and the constant development you can observe through the literatures. So I would like to put some concepts and few of the approaches, not all, and out of this literature and the past 7 to 8 years I have worked on this area. So I have just noted out few challenges. So some key challenges will be discussed at the last. So my outline of the presentation will go like this. We'll discuss on something on system and modeling. So we'll elaborate the needs of the approximation, some concepts, then we'll take up some historical perspective also we'd like to discuss, different approaches, and few of them would be discussed in detail, and we'll conclude with the few of its application and the key challenges in this particular area. So let us start with the introduction to the system. So the system, as this is a very general and universal word, so anything under investigation having set of components connected with each other, interacting with each other so as to achieve some objective, we call as a system, right? So we often see the continuous domain system and discrete time systems as the broad classifications to the systems that we have seen just from our UG, PG, and whatever studies we have seen. So many representation, and the broad classification is nothing but the continuous and discrete. So to start with any system, to understand the system, to analyze it, or to obtain the output of the system, to have something called control over the system, so we need to start with its mathematical model. Mathematical model is, again, as engineer's point of view, it's nothing but set of mathematical equations, be it differential equation or the difference equation, or it could be some even the linear algebraic equation as well. So set of equations which are going to present the same system, we call this set of mathematical equation as the mathematical model. So often in continuous time system, these are being represented with the set of differential equations. And you can say every continuous time system can be represented by a differential equation model. Further, if we'll take the Laplace transform to that, so you can present this into transfer function approach as well, right? And in discrete time system, so just analogous to the differential equation, we have difference equations here, and the discrete time systems are being represented with the difference equations. And further, they can be transformed into some Z domain, and finally you will have some pulse transfer function, same as you obtain the transfer function in S domain and Laplace domain. Here you will have the pulse transfer function in Z domain. Right. So the system, you can represent this in time domain as well as in frequency domain. So now, when we represent a system, so often we encounter two things. One is simplicity and accuracy, and these are always these pose some conflicting scenarios, right? So what we want the model to be as simple as possible, but this oversimplification may lead to the wrong representation of the system, and sometimes this may give you the inaccurate results, right? So please in between, please let me know if it is all okay.
Yeah, you may go ahead.
Okay. So we want the model to be as simple as possible so that the understanding could be better and the computational burden will also be lesser. But in the process of oversimplification, what uh, it may lead to some sort of inaccurate representation and sometimes misleading representation. So the model should not be oversimplified. So at the same time, what we want the system to be more and more accurate. So in order to present it accurately, what we do is we try to take all the variables, even they are less important. We try to represent all the features and characteristic of the system as a whole. So the model gets complex, right? So the complexity of the model, right? And this complexity of the model again poses the difficulty in understanding analysis and whatever increases the simulation time as well. So what should be there? There should be some compromise over the simplicity and accuracy, right? So the first and foremost important thing is the model should presented, the first hand model should be your accurate. So that is how this leads to the complexity of the system, and many of times the order of the system increases to a large number. So what we can do is the next, we can, being represented system as a complex model, now we can go for further simplification of that system so that we have another model which is simplified representation of the original system, but at least it is possessing important characteristic of the original system, or it is going to resemble in some sense the original system. And then we can, instead of working with the original model of the system, we can work with the simplified model of the system. So often the two representations we see, one is your classical presentation via transfer function approach, where the transfer function is nothing but the ratio of two polynomials of S. And if we define this transfer function, it is always for the relaxed system and in S domain, and this is the Laplace transform of output to the input. While in time domain, we go for the state space modeling, where what we do is we have, if n differential equation, nth order differential equations is with us. So what we can do is we can broke this nth order differential equations into n first order differential equation and put all those differential equations into some matrix form, and leading to some sort of thing that x dot is equal to ax plus bu and y is equal to cx plus du. It's well known to all of you, I hope. So these four matrices A, B, and C, D are now going to represent our system, where the first equation we call as the state equation, and the second one, y of t cx plus du, we call this as the output equation. So in the both the representations, so they have got some limitation and some advantage. So in transfer function approach, suppose you go for a very high order system. So this, see, in the denominator, in this denominator, what will happen? See, this n will be very large. So if, let's say, if this n is 100, so in the denominator you will have 101 terms. And suppose if this figure goes beyond 100, so it's a difficult to even write, and the analysis is somewhat cumbersome in this frequency domain. While in the time domain, what is there with their matrices A, B, and C, D? So this matrix A will be of, let's say, in case of 100 order, this will be 100 cos 100 matrix, and most of the elements of this matrix would be 0. So only the storage of non-zero elements is your concern. So that will be a convenient way to represent the high order system, right? And other thing is the transfer function is best approach. You have the input-output behavior of the system. So presented some input to the system, you require to find out the response, and all the analysis go through that response only. But you don't worry about the internal states or the internal behavior of the system, what is going within the system itself. But in time domain approach via states, you can look into the internal states as well. So this is how the time domain approach has superiority over the frequency or the classical approach. And one to handle the large, it can handle the large scale system. It can have the analysis of internal behavior as well, right? And further, so being represented the system via this T domain. So mainly I have worked on this time domain. The frequency domain things are also very simple, but the researchers have done on this, in fact, on the algorithm itself only, and these cannot handle the say large scale system. So it is always, for the large scale system, it is always better to be in the time domain approach. So now these slides will just elaborate further why we need the approximation, why we need the approximation of the system being represented with complexity, let's say being represented as a high order system. So with the system, what we want is, the first thing is the analysis and synthesis of it. So that have been discussed already, that this will be difficult somewhat. Better understanding of the physical system will be difficult if you have the complex and high order system. So that forces us to be in the simplified version of the original system. If we'll have the simplified version, so it will be will have less simulation time. The reduced complexity will be there. Reduced hardware complexity will be there. Then it will lead to the simplified controller design. So this will elaborate again in the future slide, and this all will lead to the cost-effective solutions. So now coming to the motivation, right? So one thing, Dr. Chiranjeevi.
Sir.
Yeah, actually, unfortunately, we don't have power right now. So I'm sitting without fan. Anyway, so the internet is fine with us. So we have a backup also. Otherwise, we'll use some data if anything goes wrong.
Yes, sir. I will inform you.
So, yes, sir. Okay. So now this is will give you some motivation to the simplification of the original system. So we can see here the first is CD player model, and the right now the Philips India is using 70-dimensional state space models for the synthesis of the controllers for the positioning system of laser beams, whereas the cheapest chips available to implement such controller is of only 5th order. So here again the question is, we have a 70th order model, but the controller can be implemented in the 5th order. So we need to have the controller in 5th order only. So how to develop that controller? So develop the controller even if the model is of 70th order. So the thing is, again, we can represent this 70th dimensional system to a 5th order system, and then we can go for the 5th order controller design. So these are, so thank God the power has come. Okay. So anyway, just 1 second, please. Right. So now, so we can see several examples as the transmission line model. So this happens to be of 256th order. Then International Space Station, that is 270th order. Clamp beam model, peak model, and this peak model contains around 2,100 capacitances, 172 inductances, say 6,000, around 7,000 mutual inductance, so on. And we can just, I hope we are familiar with the order of the system. So once we have the energy storage element, so these give rise to the order. Suppose we have 2 inductances and 2 capacitor. So if we'll try to model this, so we'll have the 4th order system. So here the number of the capacitances and inductance poses to a high order system, right? And of course, if there are several capacitances, and we can put these capacitances into some equivalent capacitance, so that would simplify our the order, or will have the less order with the simplification of the equivalent representation of the capacitances. But often in the complicated circuit, it is not possible to present the equivalent of all the capacitances and all the inductances. Otherwise, all the circuit would reduce to a 2nd order only, because we have only, in electrical engineering, we have only 2 energy storage elements. So often most of the analysis go via, in the control, we often see via the 2nd order systems, right? And the higher order systems is often thought to be, can be represented to its 2nd order approximate, but for the more accuracy towards the system, it is not always true. So this CD player we have already discussed. Coming to few more motivating examples, just to give you a glimpse of these MNA modified nodal analysis examples. They have of 578 dimension, even of 9,000, 4,000, and it could be 10,000 even. So to work on the 10,000 order system, it's very, very cumbersome. So this forces us to be in some simplified version of the model. This is another Russian service module. When it is presented into the state space model, it happens to be of 270th order with 3 inputs and 3 output systems. Then another one is peak model. Then few more examples. You can see this micro electromechanical systems, the solar panel, large drives and machines. Right. So these are the motivating points to go for the approximation, and we can see the model order reduction. Now let us define what is it. So the aim of the model reduction is to just replace a given mathematical model of a system or a process by a model that is much smaller than the original system, but still describe at least approximately the certain aspects of the system or process. So we want to represent a system by its simplified representation, and that simplified representation should again be possessing at least some of the important, at least the most, all the important features of the original system. Now, in order to do that, what are the constraints? What are the points that should always be taken care? So this approximation error means the simplified version and the original system, if they are given the same kind of input, same input in fact, then the response obtained via these two, the original system and via this approximation. So we call that the difference as the error, and this error should be as small as possible. So this error is measured via several other notions are there for this. And if the original model taken is the stable one, so the reduced model or the approximation should also be stable, so that the stability should be preserved. So even if the original model is unstable, so the simplified model should also be unstable. So most of the time we are concerned with the stable original system. So the stability should be preserved while presenting into a simplified version of the original system. Passivity is another notion. This should also be preserved. In some of the large interconnected systems, what happens, even though the original model is passive, so after the simplification, what happens, it is able to possess some kind of energy to it, so the model do not remain passive. So we have to take care of the passivity as well. And whatever we do, the algorithms are the steps that the mathematical steps that we prepare for presenting the model, they should not pose some mathematical burden to the computations, right? Now, having fulfilled these constraints and presenting the simplified model, so this can be in two domain, again, the frequency domain as well as in time domain. So we can just propose the statement or the problem as, let's say we have the nth order system presented as the transfer function model, right? So the transfer function is nothing but the ratio of two polynomials. So this transfer function could be the proper, strictly proper or improper functions. The proper functions that we just mean by here, it is a proper function. If we'll put s to infinitive, so we'll get some constant value, right? So this is a proper function. Otherwise, in the denominator, what happens, the order is just greater than the numerator, so that will be your strictly proper function. So most of the time we are concerned with the proper transfer functions. So for this proper transfer function of order n, our objective is to present a simplified model whose order is r. So in frequency domain, the system is, we often encounter with this great statement that the behavior of the system is governed by the system poles, right? So this denominator, if you'll solve denominator polynomial, if you'll solve, you will get the frequencies, and those frequencies are nothing but at which this transfer function will become infinite. So those are called poles. So the poles are the very important things. Of course, there are effect of zeros and gain as well, but the poles are there to govern the system behavior, you can say, as a whole. So if you have nth order system, so of course you will have n number of poles. So what you try to take out of these n poles only R pools which are important in respect to present the system characteristics. So there could be some pools which are used to represent the system, but they are not participating in the energy transfer from the input to output. Else you can say that they are not important for the representation of the system. So you can just leave these poles. So this way, this is one way you can have the reduced size of the system. Of course, we have discussed limitation in the frequency domain. So mostly we deal with in time domain. So in time domain, what we have is the presentation by some matrices A, B, and C. And here the N is supposed to be very, very large. So the system matrix A is of N cross N, N cross N. And right, so if I present the system with a black box denoting with this xt, so here the output, input, and the states all become important. So representing this by x of t, so given the input u of t, it is giving the output y of t. Now I'm going to present this smaller version of this system. So we can have another system z of t, so which is the simplified version of xt. So if I'm giving the same input u of t, so what should be there? I must expect the same output y of t from this the simplified version representation, but it will not always be there. So if it is, let's say, if it is y dash, if it is some y dash differing from the original, so the difference, this y of t over y dash of t, this should be as small as possible, right? So we will have another set of presentation as z dot is equal to arz, br of u, and y of t is equal to crz. So thus we have, instead of ABC matrices, now we have AR, BR, and CR, where this AR system matrix is of order R cross R, and this R is, of course, much lesser than this N. So this is the statement or objective of the reduction in time domain. So let us come to some historical notion of it about this area. Originally, this was developed in systems and control theory, and still it is thought to be in fact, the system and control paper are dominating, still dominating, right? So originally it was developed in the system and control area, but soon it was taken by the numerical mathematicians, and especially after a very prominent work as the Pade-Violankos. And now it is in fact the flourishing field of research in both of these areas, system and control theory, as well as in the numerical analysis. But most of the prominent work has been done by the system and control people. This idea is not new, but it was all started in 1807 when Fourier translated the idea to approximate a function with few trigonometric terms. Right? We often have encountered this Fourier series and all. So in linear algebra, the first work via this Lankos was realized, where he represented matrix in some tridiagonal form. Again, W. A. Arnoldi realized that the smaller matrix could be a good approximation of the original matrix. See, in time domain, this is a play of matrices only. So the fundamental methods actually was published in 80s and 90s, last century. And then this area actually started taking boom. So in 81, very prominent work by B.C. Murray was proposed by this known as balance truncation. And one more important, this technique came out in 84 by this K. Glover, this optimal Hankel-Norm approximation. Then again, a landmark technique was presented by Sirovich, proper orthogonal decomposition. In 1990, again, a very prominent technique came, that was Krylov subspace via this asymptotic waveform evaluation. So this is in fact the Krylov, and still the prominent research in this area is being carried out across the globe in this Krylov space, but this poses a lot of mathematics is involved, so this poses much difficulty. So still this is a fancy topic. So Krylov subspace, and this the most important thing about this technique is it can handle the system of any order. It could be 10,000 or even beyond that. In 1993, the very prominent method that was Pade-Violankos again came, and this shows the relation between Pade and Krylov. And in fact, this gave some sort of dimensions that all the methods, there are only two things. One is it could be some sort of moment matching. What is moment? We'll see later on. So it could be some moment matching by which with a simplified version can be represented. And the other thing could be some projection matrices are used. So there could be some projection matrices via which the large size matrices could be projected to the smaller size matrices. And this is how representing the smaller version of the system. And always the system characteristic are something sort of poles. It could be eigenvalues. It could be right, the moments of the system. The moments means time moments are Markov parameters. So they are the special features of the system. So what we do is we try to match these special features with the reduced system, and this is how we obtain the reduced model. And this is how we try to preserve all the original features, original characteristic possessed by the original system in the reduced order model. So these are few of the prominent works as a historical perspective I have taken. Still, there are many things, many landmark things are there. But these, in fact, were the basic things that you can think, you can just think, you can take it as the beginning of this particular area, right? Now, having seen this perspective, let us jump to the different approaches. So several methods, both in time and frequency domain, as we can found in literature. So some of they are based on the projections, and some of they are derived through the moment matching. In time domain, the prominent methods that we could see is, one is Krylov subspace projection, balance truncation, another is your Hankel-Norm approximation. So I'll try to cover this little bit on Krylov. I'll more focus on the balance truncation. I'll just give you the glimpse of Hankel-Norm also, but we'll focus more on the balance truncation and little bit on the Krylov subspace. So again, there are several frequency domain methods based on dominant pole retention, pole clustering, Pade approximation, then Raoult-Pade approximations, method based on ISE minimization, applying conventional and heuristic technique. So the basic formulation is same, but once you apply different optimization technique or evolutionary techniques, So this give rise to another method. And of course, by mixing of the two methods, again, you propose some new method. So there are several variants to the methods. So we'll not discuss in detail, but if the time permits, we'll discuss a little bit on the Paddy approximation as the basic approach to it, so that we can convey the basic philosophy of the this particular research area. Now, before we enter into the approaches, let me discuss few terminologies so that it will be easy to understand those things. The first terminology is singular value decomposition, SVD. The second one is your factorization of matrix, Cholesky factorization. Then the projection framework. Now, these three terminology I would like to discuss one by one so that we can enter to in our topic. So first one is your singular value decomposition. It is a very handy mathematical technique that has applications to many problems. In fact, the matrix A can be represented or can be factorized into three matrices U, W, and V, such that U, W, and V transpose is equal to the matrix A itself, where this A is of order n cross n, and U matrix we can take as m cross n. The V matrix is of n cross n, and the middle one, that is your W matrix, that is the most important, that is of order n cross n, and it is a diagonal matrix as well. And the most important feature of this matrix is it have only the only the diagonal element as some positive values that we call as singular values. Let us represent this via W1, W2, and W1, Wn. So if it is an nth order system, so we'll have n Ws, and via this MATLAB, you can easily calculate this SVD. This command is UWV SVD of system matrix A. And this, if you go to define this W, we call as the Hankel singular values. They are just the square root of the product of controllability and observability gradients. What are the gradients? We'll see later on. And one more thing, we can relate these singular values as it is something as the square root of eigenvalues, right? And eigenvalues again are nothing but this the most important characteristic feature of the system. So in order to have the algorithmic development of these processes, we often need to present this, use this singular value decomposition, where the matrix A is being factored in three matrices U, W, and V. Now, so one more thing, we can find out the rank of the matrix using observing the number of non-zero Hankel singular values. What happens, in fact, in the system when we calculate these singular values, we may observe some of these Wi may be 0, and that is because of the system matrix A is not a full order matrix. So then it will be 0. So simply corresponding to those non-zero singular values, those states can be just left, those can be truncated directly without harming the system, right? Without and the system order will be automatically be decreased to some lower order. Let's say if the rank of A is less than capital N, less than N, and it is let's say some K value, so the order will be K. But still, we are interested to lower the dimension of that matrix to somewhat lower value as let's say R, and R being much lesser than this K also. So what we do is we try to sort out those singular values which are important to us, and how they are important, the coming slide will discuss. Another thing is your Cholesky factorization, where again this matrix A is broken into two triangular matrices, L and L transpose. In fact, this is one matrix, L and its L transpose. So any symmetric and positive definite matrix, there exists a unique lower triangular matrix L with positive diagonal element, right? So with the positive diagonal elements, this is used to check the positive definiteness of the matrix also, right? And this is the most important way to check whether a given matrix is a positive definite or not. So if you represent this matrix A into some triangular matrix L such that LL transpose is equal to A, then you just observe the diagonal elements over this L, and if they are all positive, so the matrix A would be your positive definite. Now let us see the procedure to find out this factorization, which is very important in our algorithm. So what in fact we need is, we can represent this A such that A is having the elements Aij as A11, A12, so that A1n. It is of n cross m matrix, and this is equal to some L represented by L11. It is lower triangular matrix. On the diagonal, it is L11, L22, and Lmm. Then this is Ln1, Ln2 at the bottom, so something like this, and the L transpose is there. So you just multiply this L and L transpose, you'll have a polynomial L, Li's, and just vacate with the left-hand side matrices. So you will have several equations in Li's and Ai's. So this way, you just need to solve those equations. So here, the Aij are given to you, and you are required to find out this Li. So just applying the principle of equation, you can solve this. So here is some general formula or the equation given to you, by which we can find the elements of the L matrix. So here is one example given to you, and based on the general formulas, you have A11 as under root of A11, L21 as A21 over L11. So this way you can calculate. This is A11 here is 4, so this L11 will be square root of that is 2. And similarly, L21 you can find out using A21 over L11. So this is again the 4 by 2, this 2 by 2, that is 1. So this way you can obtain. So this just give you how we go for this Cholesky factorization. So once you obtain this L matrix, so these are the things that you are going to use in your algorithm. The next important feature of this is your projection framework. There are a number of concepts that should be discussed, but these three are in fact sufficient to proceed with our approach, the topic. So this third approach is the projection framework. How this works, see. So we have, in fact, our objective is to present a system of n states into a system of r states. So we can have a projection matrix that we may call as UR. See it here. This n, so the states are represented with this column vector. This is n cross 1 matrix, and the reduced system will be having your R states. So this is your R cross 1 column vector. So this is the state vector of the original system, and this is the state vector of the reduced system. And this we can relate via some projection matrix. Let's say it be UR. UR is some matrix, and this is of order n cross R. So this is the matrix via which we can reach from n state to R state. Let us see how. Let us have a original system represented as x dot is equal to ax plus bu, and let us, for simplicity, let us represent y of t is c transpose x of t. Not considering the d, most of the cases it is 0 when there is no coupling of input to the output. Now, just substitute this x, the original state, to some UR x cap, some UR x cap. So x cap is having the R states, where this x was having n states. So I can just replace, just look at the previous slides. So these are just equal. This is n cross 1. You can just follow the matrix multiplication rule. If this is UR is of n cross R and this is of R cross 1, so the resultant you will have as n cross 1, n cross 1. So the matrix multiplication rule is satisfied. So here you can just replace this x, the original state, as the reduced state through some projection matrix UR. So now substituting this in the original system, you'll have UR x cap dot is equal to AUR x cap plus BU, and the second equation you will have something like this: YT is C transpose UR x cap. Now, of course, this R is very, very less than this capital N, and that is my objective. We want a much simpler representation of the original one. So let us pick another matrix VR transpose, and let us multiply with this, the transform state equations, transform the state space model. So we'll have VR transpose UR and x cap dot is equal to VR transpose AUR x cap plus VR transpose BU, and Y will be same as C transpose UR x cap. Now let us choose this VR transpose UR such that this is equal to identity matrix, and this will be, of course, when they are bi-orthogonal matrices. So this can be this choice always we can make. So we can pick these matrices such that this UR is transferring the n states to R, and the VR transpose such that the product of these are leading to identity matrix. So in this way, what we'll have the representation something like this: dx cap dot t over dt equal to a cap x cap t plus b cap ut, and y of t is equal to C transpose cap x cap of t. Now see, from x we have replaced the system to x cap. Is everything fine?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Because I cannot see, I make it full screen, I cannot see the.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay.
Everything is okay, sir.
Okay.
So
Some noise is coming from some side. Now it's okay. Okay. So we have the transform states now in this form. See here, the xt has been now replaced with xt of cap. So this x cap of t is having R state. So the system has been transformed into the R states only. And here, instead of A, B, and C matrix, we are now having A cap, B cap, and C cap. Right. One more important thing about the notation is here have representing a small b. Generally in the literature, if we represent this with a small smaller case b, then it is a CISO system. Otherwise, if it is a capital case, so it is a MIMO page. In both the cases, this is equally applicable. So now we have A cap, B cap, and C cap. So starting from the original system as with the matrices A, B, and C, now we have A cap, B cap, and C cap. So the dimension of this A cap is now R cross R. So this is something, the philosophy of projection by which we are going to reduce the number of states and so the order of the system. This you can again relook in some pictorial form. So original system is x dot is equal to ax plus bu, where a is of n cross n. Now we are using instead of this x, u are x cap. So now u are x cap. We have transformed the system. So now this is. And again, we have chosen a V transpose matrix of R cross N. So the coefficient of the X dot cap is now identity, and you can take this as X cap dot only. So now in place of the A matrix, now what you see is the V transpose A U R, and this you can replace via A cap. So this was something, the projection framework we tried to understand. So now we are in position now to proceed further. So we understood the SVD, we understood the Cholesky factorization, and we also understood the projection framework. Now, you must be wondering about these two matrices V and U, and of course picking up this U and V matrix is again an area of research, how to choose this U and V matrix so that you can successfully go to your achieve your objective, as you can present the original to a reduced system crowd. So there are several ways to it. I will not go into detail, but just I'll list out some ways to it. So we can use eigenvectors of the system, matrix model analysis. We can use frequency domain data. And this is something called point matching. Then we can use some time series data. So there are several methods where these choices of these U and V matrices are there. And so basically, if we'll classify in a new way the whole this model order reduction, so this is nothing but the moment matching and the projection framework. So each method had its own way of projection framework and picking up this U and V matrices. So the way they are being picked up, they have another name to that method. Now, so these slides will give you just glimpse of the several ways of picking this V and U matrices. Where in this Krylov subspace vector method, there is one again important thing in it, that is implicit moment matching. So here we try to pick up these two matrices, and there are some steps, some algorithm to it, and this is of course done via this Arnoldi algorithm and some Lanko's algorithm. So what happens in that, within the algorithm itself, it will carry out and you'll find out the reduced order model, and you can check the reduced order model will have the same moments as the original system. So that we call as the algorithm itself has taken care of the moment matching. While in fact one of the method, as is very popular in frequency domain, and it was the oldest method, I hope, that is a Pade approximation, where what you do is in Pade approximation, you try to calculate the moments of the system. Moments means there are two moments, the time moments and Markov parameters. So, and you try to calculate the moments of your reduced order system. Of course, there will be some function of the coefficients of its numerator and denominator polynomial. So you try to match these two moments, the time moments and Markov parameter, and this is how you try to get the values, obtain the numerator and denominator coefficients of the reduced order system. So that method we call as the explicit moment matching. In PADE, we call this as the explicit moment matching, where we try to calculate the time moment and Markov parameters of the system, and then with the help of those moments, we try to match it and then obtain the numerator and denominator coefficients of the reduced order system. So this is your explicit. So, but in Krylov space, the algorithm itself will take care of this moment matching. So in fact, when you'll go into detail, again, you'll say that there are number of methods, there are number of ways, but all things, since the objective is of all the methods and all the philosophy are same. So what happens, what lies inside is all the methods converge to a single method. So there, the crux of the method, the most important thing is somehow will be same, but they could be translated in some armor. And still that is the point of research. That is, again, the people are working on it, how we can relate one method to the other method, and how the methods are interrelated and how much they are interrelated. So in that case, the PADE and the Krylov, PADE in the frequency domain and Krylov in the time domain, they are literature. You can find out some relationship in the literature. So there is the explicit moment matching, while in Krylov there is implicit moment matching. So let us proceed with the Krylovs. I have already introduced a little bit. So let us see just a few more things. I'll not go again with much detail. So it will, you may find difficulty, those who are not in this area, but still you will be able to understand at least the philosophy of this process. So in Krylov subspace method, again, what we do is we present some span, we present some vector spaces, and we, with these bases, we again use the projection framework. And these frameworks, for this, actually there are algorithms which have been written, that is have been proposed and especially via this Arnoldi and Lankos. So most of the people are again using those bases, and there of course there are variations to it. Number of variations have been presented to it. Now, but the basic philosophies, again, they have all the researchers have taken the same. So what they do is, in fact, so these bases have been picked up in such a way that the moments are matched. The moments are matched, and the objective is the matching of the moments. So again, when we expand, in fact, when we expand a transfer function, and this again, the transfer function we can represent via this your, say, let's say in ABCD matrices form. You the relation is something you can see, the G of S, the transfer function G of S is equal to CSI minus A inverse into B plus some D, right? So this transfer function, which is again having the terms as ABCD, so this can be again expanded into some series. We call this as Taylor series around some frequency point, let's say S is equal to 0. So when we expand this around S is equal to 0, this is called your, the coefficients are called the time moments, right? So this will be a series and whose coefficients are called the time moments. And when again, this series is being expanded around S is equal to infinitive, so this is called, the coefficients are called the Markov parameters, right? So we always take care of matching up these time moments and Markov parameter, and this way we try to project our framework. So this is one thing. So this is the way we take the vector space, the span of B, EB, something, right? Instead of here this A, E, I can take here this system matrix A. This is some other notation where the system is represented in some descriptor form, where we can represent this as E x dot is equal to AX plus BU and Y is equal to CX, right? So here, instead of this E, I can replace this as capital A if the original system is represented via this matrix A, B, and CD. Okay. So we can take this S is equal to 0 as for the expanding this function, and also we can take instead of 0 some other point S1, S2. So these are again multi-point expansion of the same series. Right. Now let us skip to this slide, and just you can take it from this as these moments can be matched. This multiple expansion points give larger band. The moment matching gives more accurate behavior in between expansion points. So not only this S is equal to 0 or S is equal to infinity, if you take some more points at which this expansion could be done and the matching could be achieved, then this would lead to some better approximation, right? The next, I've already given some discussion over the slide, right? How to compare this PADA approximation and Krylo search space projection framework. In the PADA, actually, what we do is that is your explicit moment matching. So we need to calculate this moment, and then we try to match and obtain the reduced order model. So here it is numeric, it becomes somewhat numerically ill conditions. So when we say ill conditions or well conditions, meaning is that if it is ill condition means these steps are, suppose you little bit perturb it, with the little bit of perturbation, what happens? The output is much sensitive, or the reduced order model may be not a good approximation to that. So that we mean by ill condition. So of course, every time we need to be our algorithm or the steps should be well conditioned. Well conditioned means they are insensitive to the little perturbations, right? So in that sense, Krylo happens to be better. So in Krylo subspace projections, this is a multi-point moment matching, and this is numerically stable. Well condition is, that's another word we can give as numerically stable. Now, coming to the next method of this time domain as the balanced truncation method. So for this, we'll pay a little bit more attention, right? So in the we have taken the original system as with A, B, C, D matrices, and the system presented as X dot is equal to AX plus BU and Y is equal to CX plus DU. Let's say for the simplicity, this is only the output equation is Y is equal to C of X. So there could be a transformation that we call as balancing transformation. X is equal to Tx. So this T is again is nothing but a matrix, and this you can take as a projection framework. And let's say this T exists such that this n state X is related to X bar is X bar having R states. Now we can use we can replace this X to Tx bar. So and again we can multiply with this T inverse. So this original set of the state equation and output equation will be something like this. x bar is equal to a bar x bar, b bar u, and y is equal to c bar x bar, where this a bar is now T inverse AT, b bar is T inverse of b, this one, and your c bar is CT bar. Now, what is the advantage of this? Let us see. This T we are calling as the balancing transformation. So to see the advantage of this matrix T, this projection framework, let us very quickly see one notion in control that we call as observability Gramian and controllability Gramians. So observability Gramians is something we can represent via this equation. Let's say this integral 0 to infinite e raised to the power a transpose f into t c transpose c e to the power a t dt. So this particular integration we call as the observability Gramian, right? So this what is the significance? Let us denote this by W naught, right? So of course, evaluating this integration means, suppose we want to find out this observability Gramian, so it will be difficult. So what we can do is, instead of evaluating this integral, we can solve this Lyapunov equation A transpose W naught plus W naught A equal to minus C transpose C, and both are the same. This W naught evaluating via this integration or just obtaining via this Lyapunov equation will lead to the same thing. So in practice, we often go via this, calculating this W naught via this Lyapunov equation. So see here, the X transpose and the X are the eigenvectors. They are the left and right eigenvectors. So eigenvectors of this W naught corresponding to small eigenvalues do not produce much energy at the output, right? So what happens is this, through mathematical expression, we can understand something as there is a system for which we want to represent its smaller version, right? And for the system, there are number of states working for that system. And what is that objective? In fact, there is some input applied to the system, means some energy is being input to that system, and in turn you are observing and you are getting some output out of the system, right? So this energy transfer from the input to the output happens via some states contained in the system. And for the original system, you are calling these are the number of states as n. Now, what you want a system for this system representation, model representation of this original system with R states. So you want to transfer the same amount of energy instead of the n states via these R states. So how this can take place? This can happen if there are states, let's say there are n minus R states which are not participating in the energy transfer from the input to output, then you can leave those R states, you can get rid of those states, and this is how you can represent the original system via only R states. So whole of your energy transfer will be there, almost whole of the energy transfer will be there, and this is how you are able to present a smaller version of the original system. Is this okay? Anyone please confirm?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So another notion we have, we call as the controllability Gramian, and on the same line you can see here in the observability, the two matrices are important. This A and C, often called the controllability pair, and the evaluating this controllability observability Gramian or controllability Gramian will give you the information whether the system is controllable or observable or not, right? So if you are going to evaluate this observability Gramian, or you have a Kalman matrix with some pair of A and C matrices, you evaluate that. In often linear control system, you have often evaluated that, and via that you frame a matrix and you just evaluate whether it is a full order matrix or not. If it is a full order matrix, it is controllable, it is observable, otherwise it is not. So again, you can go the same information, all are equivalent, right? All are equivalent. Here again, we can have controllability Gramian, something like integration 0 to infinite e raised to the power at bb transpose e to the power a transpose t dt. And again, there are left and right eigenvectors. So now, again, instead of evaluating by the integration, we we just obtain this controllability Gramian that we have represented by WC via this, again, Lyapunov equation, A WC plus WC A transpose equal to minus BB transpose. And again here, these eigenvectors of WC corresponding to small eigenvalues do require a lot of input energy in order to be reached, or they are not very controllable. So they require a lot of energy, or they are not very controllable, means there are states which are not controllable, right? So in other words, we can see that there are some states which are not controllable, means there is we cannot have an appropriate control vector u and for those states, so that the initial state means the state of the system at t is equal to 0 could be driven to some other state at time t, right? So if it is not possible to transfer the initial state to some other state at some time t in a finite time via some control vector u, then you call that particular state as uncontrollable. Or in other words, you can again say these are the states which are not participating from the energy transfer from the input to the output. So in other words, you can say these are not very important states of the system, and they have been considered in the original system. So let us get rid of those states. So this is how we are going to have the lesser number of states in our reduced system representation. So that is what we have understood. Suppose I could compute a basis for strongly observable or strongly controllable spaces. So the projection-based model reduction can give a reduced model that deletes weakly observable or weakly controllable modes. So here there are two things. One is there could be some states which are not controllable, which are not observable. So straight away we can discard those states and getting the system that we call as the minimal realization. Minimal realization are the system, just I can make you understand this in another way also. So minimal realization of a system means, let's say I always use the original system order as capital N, and in between I'm using another order K, and then the final reduced order as R. So N, K, and R. So the original system is of order N, and I am having a system of order K where N minus K states have been discarded straight away, and those states are the states which are either not controllable or not observable. Means they are not participating in the energy transfer from the input to output at all. So those states can be straight away discarded, and this you can again understand something like this. If there are some, let's system has some eigenvalues. Eigenvalues is a concept generally we present via these matrices, the state space model, the eigenvalues. And in the what we call in the transfer function domain, we have a notion called poles, right? So can anybody just to listen from the audience side also, can anybody just see any difference between the eigenvalues and poles? Can anybody respond? Eigenvalues and poles?
Sir,
Or
with
I
the
think
help of
passive.
value, we can calculate the poles of the system.
Roots of a characteristic equation, sir.
Right, this is all okay. But the difference between eigenvalues and poles, whether they are same or they are different, and if they are different, how they are different? See, eigenvalues are, we just evaluate by again the characteristic equation, Si minus A is equal to 0. So eigenvalues of a system in state space, we often evaluate, and that we call as the eigenvalue of the system. In fact, the eigenvalues are the superset, and the poles are the subset to the eigenvalues. And the poles, the notion of the poles we often see via the transfer function approach, where we solve this denominator polynomial and find out the poles. So there may be a system where, and of course, all the poles are contained in the eigenvalues. All the poles are eigenvalues, but there may be few eigenvalues which may not appear in the poles. So if, let us, let me just explain it. I can give you some example also, but let us go in this way. Suppose you have a system and for which you have obtained the eigenvalues, right? Eigenvalues. And let us assume that the poles are -1, -2, and -3. -1, -2, -1, -2, and -3 are the eigenvalues of three eigenvalues of the system. But in that particular system, let us suppose there is a 0 also, which is S is equal to -2. So what will happen if you represent the same system in the transfer function? So there would be a pole 0 cancellation, and in the transfer function approach, that pole which is appearing at -2 will be cancelled by the 0 which is appearing at the same place -2. So there is a pole 0 cancellation, right, in this particular system. So here in that system you have the eigenvalues as -1, -2, -3, but the poles will be only -1 and -3. This -2, which is the eigenvalue of the system, will not appear in the transfer function because of the pole 0 cancellation. So you can just think of these poles as the subset of eigenvalues, right? So what happens, in fact, these are the eigenvalues of these corresponding to these the states which are not controllable and not observable. So just get rid of these states, you will have a system reduce a lower order representation system that you call as the minimal realization of the system. So in minimal realization of the system, what you have is there is no pole 0 cancellation, and system is having the eigenvalues and poles as identical, right? And where all these states are at least controllable and observable, but they not be equally controllable and observable, but at least they are controllable and observable. So that we call as the minimal. So start with the minimal realization of the system, and that we call as somewhat balancing, right? Balancing, it will have some other notion, it will have some more stronger notion. Let us see. We'll move to that. So we have now come to a system of the states where all the states are equally, states are at least controllable and observable. But what if the same mode is strongly controllable but weakly observable, or let's say the reverse of that. So then we do a thing which is called the balancing of the system. So balancing of the system just means that we try to equalize the states, that the system consists of the states such that, or you can say there could be a transformations existing which will equalize all the states with respect to its controllability and observability, meaning that all the states will be equally controllable and equally observable, right? So that we call as the balancing. Let us move to that very quickly. I hope I have 10 minutes more, 10 or 15.
Yes, sir. You take, sir. No problem, sir.
Okay. I'll finish by just 15 minutes. Okay. So balancing. So in balancing, just what we can say is we have a little bit change of coordinates such that this all these states are now equally controllable and equally observable. So this is some mathematics that we can do for balancing. So let us move to that. Now, what we do is, in balanced coordinates, it will be easy to select the base vector for the reduced model, so that the states that are going to select will be strongly controllable and strongly observable. Means, again, we'll classify the states. Earlier, what we have discarded few states which were not controllable or not observable. Now, we have the system order K. Now, we are observing the states and classifying in the two domains, such as one class contains all the strongly observable and controllable states, and the other is weakly controllable and weakly observable. So now the states which are weakly controllable and observable, again, if anyhow we'll get rid of those states, so we'll have further reduction in the dimension of the system, and this is how we achieve the reduced order system via balancing. So first thing is balancing, where we try to balance it, and then truncating those states which are weakly controllable and observable. So this method is known as balanced truncation. So how to do that? How to do that? In fact, this is done via these Hankel singular values. So what is Hankel singular values? What we do is we try to, let me see whether I have the algorithm for it. No. So anyway, what in fact we do is, for the system matrix, we try to again have a Cholesky factorization of this in terms of this LC and L naught. And for that, we try to take SVD. And in singular value decomposition, we have seen that we have three matrices, U, V, left hand vector, left side eigenvector, and right side eigenvector. And in between, we have a we call as the matrix W, which is your containing the singular values. It is a diagonal matrix containing the non-zero elements only at the diagonal, and the diagonal elements are the Hankel singular values only. And these Hankel singular values, in fact, are very, very important. They are going to predict which state is important. So the states corresponding to the larger Hankel singular values are strongly controllable and observable, while the states corresponding to the less Hankel singular values are the less magnitude singular values are weakly controllable. So we try to discard that, right? So again, so this is the method, and which gives you the indication of the order of the system. So up to what order the system has to be reduced. Let's say if it is from N to K and K to R. So what should be the value of R? So this is given by observing the Hankel similar values of the system. So again, there is a paper where this, if you'll observe for the Hankel similar values for different system. So after certain value, this Hankel similar values decays very fast. So you can observe the two consecutive similar values, and let's say the sigma R plus 1, sigma R plus 1, sigma R plus 1, and sigma. This ratio is, let's say, 110. Means this next value is 10 times lesser than this first value, right? So that means this corresponding, you can just think of the next state is at the weight of this is 1/10 of the previous state. So that particular R you can take as the order of the reduction. Now, again, there are good things with this balance realization. Then mathematically, you can obtain this, the error. So the error in the original system, here it is represented by H of j omega, and the reduced system is with the HR of j omega. And if you take the this double line indicates the norm of that, if you will calculate the infinitive norm, and this is one way to present the approximation error. So this will be always be less than or equal to the twice of summation of all the discarded Hankel similar values starting from R plus 1 to nth. And of course, these values are very, very small. So this all summation will be very small. So this will lead to a small approximation, and moreover, the approximation error knowledge you have prior to the reduction. But there are some demerits to it, because obtaining this observability and controllability gradients, W0 and WC, this requires to solve this Lyapunov equation, and this poses somewhat computational burdens. And one more thing, via this method, you can test the system, you can reduce the system up to of order 100 approximately. This works well. But in one of my paper, I have through this method, I have gone to reduce a system of order 1006, and that worked well. But this requires a little bit of modification in that. So I have, you can just refer to my paper given at class. So in time domain method, so in the third method, and just go quickly, is the notion of this, the Hankel norm approximation, where we use some kind of optimization, right? So here the original system is GS and the reduced system GKFS. So we try to take the Hankel norm, present the Hankel norm of this GS, difference of GS and GCAF of S, and try to minimize this Hankel norm with some optimization method we can apply. There are a number of optimization methods are there to you can use that, but you can achieve via this optimization. So in that way, this is known as optimal Hankel norm approximation. This given by Hankel, and this Hankel norm you can define this the largest eigenvalue of the product of square root of the largest eigenvalue of the product of the controllability and observability gradients. Now, this is all about your time domain method. So there is another method which is called modal truncations, where you try to retain the dominant modes of this, and based on that, several algorithms has been given. So these were the time domain. I restricted my talk on the time domain basically because the large scale system can only be handled through this time domain method. Now, at the end of this talk, we can, if we can spare a few more minutes, we can see in frequency domain, one of the methods as Bradley approximation. And go very quickly. In Faraday approximation, what we do is we have the frequency domain representation of the system, something with the numerator and denominator polynomial, and we try to expand this around s is equal to 0. This rational function, we try to expand around s is equal to 0. So we'll get terms like something like this, a t naught plus t1s plus t2s square plus so on. These t naught, t1, t2 we call as the time moments. If I expand the same transfer function around s is equal to infinity, so we'll have the same expansion as m naught s to the power minus 1 plus m1 s minus 2 and so on. These coefficients m0, m1, m2 we call as the Markov parameters. So these are the time moment and Markov parameter of the original system. Here this t0 and m0 of course will be the function of ai's and bi, where all the ai's and bi's are known to us. So this t0, ti's and m0 of the original system is known to us. These are known. These values are known to us. Now, what we do is, since our objective is to obtain a reduced system representation of this original one, so original ones were containing the order n, and here our objective is to have a system of order r, right? So let us represent this by g cap of s and their coefficients by ai caps and bi caps, where this all ai caps and bi caps are unknown. They are unknown. That means if anyhow we can find out these unknown coefficients, so we'll be able to find out the reduced system, right? So how to calculate this coefficient ai caps and bi cap? We try to again expand this reduced system into Taylor series expansion, and that will lead to these expansion around s is equal to 0 and s is equal to infinity. So this will give you t naught cap, t1 cap, let us say ti cap and mi's cap. And of course here this ti caps and mi cap will be the function of ai cap and bi cap, where this ai cap and bi cap are unknown. So this will contain the functions of ai's and bi caps, right? Then suppose there are rth order model is to be achieved. So that means we need to calculate 2r coefficients of the reduced order system. So for 2r, right, here this is 0 to r, so this is r plus 1, and again in the numerator r plus 1. So this is 2r plus 1, 2r plus 1, 2r plus 2 you can say, or twice in bracket r plus 1. So 2r plus 2 coefficient is to be calculated. So to evaluate 2r plus 2 coefficient, you need to have 2r plus 2 equations. So what you do is you try to match the time moment of the original system with the reduced system to evaluate these coefficients of the reduced system. So what you need to frame 2r plus 2 equations. So what you can choose is you can choose only the time moment matching, or you can choose only the Markov parameter matching, or you can choose the r plus 1 equation via time moment matching and r plus 1 equation via the moment matching. And this is in fact there are again lots of research on this, how to choose this time moment. In fact, in a very brief, I would like to tell you that this time moments, since this is expansion around s is equal to 0 low frequency, or in time domain you can say that the counterpart is t tending to infinity, or the steady state. So this will, the time moment matching will lead to the matching of the steady state response of the systems. Two systems means original and reduced system. While this Markov parameter matching will lead to the transient matching. So what you want for your reduced system is you want to match these reduced system response in both way, transient as well as the steady state. So what you can do is you can frame out few of the equation using the time moment matching and few using the Markov parameter, and this is how you present the response of the reduced system matching with the original system. So this is the philosophy of Pardee approximation. And again, in Pardee approximation, there is a demerit. In fact, this is these are set of equation. If you try to match, you will get this equation where this T naught, Ti's are known, and A I cap and B I cap are unknown. So number of unknowns, you have to frame the same number of equations to evaluate this. So this is how you obtain the Pardee approximation. If you through Pardee approximation, if you'll obtain the numerator and denominator both, so there is a demerit to it. Often for the stable system, it may lead to unstable model representation. So what you can do is you can take some other method which preserves the stability, and that method is you can obtain the denominator via route and numerator via Pardee, giving to another approximation, that is route Pardee. So I'll not talk much about on it. So, and since the Pardee approximation, just I have told you the equivalent to this time domain is the Krylov. So in Krylov also there is a demerit of the producing a simpler model with unstable characteristic. So here are some examples. Fourth order system, and this has been reduced into some third order via this route Pardee, and then you give the step input to it. So you observe the step response of the original system and the models, and this is see the model 1 given by the red one and the original system given by the blue line. They are quite matching, so it is a better representation than the model 2, which is the green one. So there is one more notion to it, where what we can do in order if the system is G of S and the response, you can just think of YS is G of S into E of S. Of course, it is a step response. So in model G cap of S, the step response would be Y cap of S given by the equation Y cap of S is equal to G cap of S into U of S. So you can frame integral square error. So this integral square error is nothing but the error square. The error we can take as the difference between two responses, and the integral to it is the integral square error. So we can frame out one objective function based on this error as integral square error. And what we can do is we can obtain this G cap of S, the reduced order system, by just minimizing this ISE. So minimizing this ISE will lead to the matching of Y cap to YS. So this is optimization based model order reduction. So in India, many of the researchers have done on this. Several mixed methods have been given. This is 1/8 order system, and there you can see the poles as -1 to -8, and one of the optimization algorithm as given by Luis-Jacula algorithm. You have third order model is obtained, and then so what we can say for the optimization based model order reduction, that it is a very good tool, and several optimizations tool can be applied to minimize the ISE. Instead of ISE, we can take some other notion based on the error. So the various optimization tools are Luis-Jacula, geometric programming, genetic algorithm, PSO, differential evolution, n-colony optimization, artificial B, and there are several, more than 25 optimization techniques are there, and they are often being applied to get the this reduced order model. Now, let us see few applications. So this is VLSI simulations, power system. Power system modeling often leads to be the system representation of very high order. this is few more to it: molecular dynamic simulation, micro electromechanical systems, then structural mechanics, transient electromagnetic simulations, fluid dynamics, and optimal control of large-scale system. Now, I'll take 2-3 minutes more. So let us now conclude with my talk with these key challenges. So out of this, what we can see, there are few challenges to this area. The first challenge that we see is the order of reductions. So we have several methods in time domain and frequency domain, but only this Henkel singular value is the one indication that is somehow giving the indication of what should be the order of reduction, but there is no other technique. So again, the researchers are trying to cultivate the structure feature of the system itself, how to get this idea of order of reduction, the order to which the system must be reduced safely and to represent the original system in full sense. Now, when I was discussing this Paddy approximation, and I have gone through this time moment and Markov parameter. So again, this gave you one challenge. What should be the optimal ratio of time moment and Markov parameter matching? Means how many time moment we should take, time moment matching should be taken. See, for R order, we need to calculate 2R plus 2 coefficients of the reduced system. So we need to frame 2R plus 2 equations. So how many equations we can frame out of this time moment matching and remaining with the Markov parameter? Again, there is a question and challenge. So many people have done on this, and so we can just go by 50-50 because in many situations, time, you can say the transient matching is more important, and in some situation, there may be steady state matching will be more important. So depending on that, we can find an optimal ratio of time moment and Markov parameter matching. Now, so the Paddy was one polynomial whose feature have been cultivated to present the reduced order system. So is there any other polynomial whose feature can be applied to find out the reduced order system? So often in one of my work, I have worked on this Chebyshev polynomial, through which again this can be represented, the reduced order system can be obtained, and there are other Liguri and Lysender's polynomials are there, so we can use that. And then one of the demerit in this Paddy approximation and the Krylov suspension time domain is the stability preservation. So the people are working. Some papers have been published on this stability preservation in Krylov subspace, but still that is not universal in nature. So somewhat it is a two-step process or somewhat approximate way of preserving the stability, but the algorithm is not taking care in itself that the stability is preserved. And thus you can say that algorithm, no algorithm has been developed which is implicit in the stability preservation. Now, in balanced truncation method, there are several good characteristics, but there is one prominent thing that can be observed if you work in this area. So many of my work, I have seen this steady state mismatch is there. The original system, the reduced system often deviate from the original system's steady state. So there are again notions given, like singular perturbation method is again given, and there are other the frequency weighted balanced truncation is there where you can match this, but that is the local. You have again take the range of frequencies over which this matching will be achieved. So steady state matching is a big challenge in balanced truncation. If that could be incorporated in the balanced truncation algorithm itself, so that would be again a prominent work in this area. But so far, some mixed strategy have been applied to overcome this particular demerit. Now, there is one notion coming in the literature, and that is the pole dominance. What we think of the pole, the most dominant pole as which is the closer to the j omega axis, but that is not true for all cases. There could be some other poles which are not nearer to the j omega axis, but that may be dominant. So if we'll keep only the dominant poles and reduce the system, we'll go for the representation of the lower dimensional representation of the system via the classical notion of the pole dominance. So this may lead to some misleading result. So what we can do is we can have a newer notion where the ratio of residue to the pole is taken as the new notion for the pole dominance. So if we'll go via this way, so the better representation will be obtained. So now the challenge is, so this notion, can this notion be incorporated in the algorithm itself? So we have again developed some hybridized technique where this pole dominance has been considered in balanced truncation with the pole dominance. But if again within the algorithm itself that pole dominance could be incorporated, so that will lead to again a great work. Then applicability of the techniques to large scale system in time domain methods. The method can handle the large scale system, and even in the balanced truncation, this can handle up to the order 100. And again, with some modification, this can handle the system of order 1000 somewhat. But only the Krylov subspace method is there, which can handle the order of the system up to 10,000 or beyond. So if you can find some universal method which can handle a system of any order, which can present the methodology for the large scale system, so that would be better. So now with all this, what happens, the computational burden increases. So we need to, while presenting our algorithm, we need to take care of the computational simplicity of the algorithm. If this is computationally simple, so that will be a better thing. So again, there are areas so far the linear system, but there are non-linear system. If you can find the direct techniques for its approximation. So there are some research published in literature that is by a piecewise linearization method. So what we do often in the linear system, we try to get it a linearized version and then try to simplify. So this will be a two-stroke simplification. So again, this will be a somewhat a compromised representation. So we need to present a technique for the direct technique to have the simplification of nonlinear system without its linearization. Now, there are several other spatial system, interval system, switch linear system, parametric or time various system, for which the research is going on, and the people across the country and across the globe are working on this. So with this, I hope I'm okay. I'm now what I have to convey, that I've conveyed to you. And I'm sorry also, I've taken around 10 minutes more. No and these are few of my research work in this particular area. If you are interested, anyone in this area, they can refer. And these are a few more. These are some references on which this presentation has been made. There are some tutorial, you can just try over this. So thank you very much for your
any queries?
Present hearing.
Any queries from participant side? Sir, I think no queries, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for a very valuable and informative lecture. So definitely participants have got something regarding model order approximation and techniques, and you have given key challenges also. So definitely those who are working in this area, so they will define their research problems accordingly. Those you have given the key challenges, no, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Once again.
Thank you also, Dr. Chiranjeevi, and thank you all the participants. And so should I leave now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So, dear participants, next session will start at 3 p.m. So, expert talk will give by Professor Saraswati Madam, JNTU College of Engineering, Vijayanagaram, Andhra Pradesh. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.